Hi, my name is Takesha Simmons. I am a student at Chattahoochee Technical College in the ECCE 2320 program. Today I am doing a presentation on working with families. It is Saturday, November 18th, 2017. Some of the topics I am going to talk about today are the ages and stages of child development from birth to age 12, some importance of family involvement, some appropriate means of involving families, and discussing some formal and informal ways of communicating info with families. One of the websites that I use for this presentation is the Child Development Institute. It is childdevelopmentinfo.com. It's the ages and stages of child development. And I learned a lot of things just browsing through this website. It is very easy to navigate through. They have a lot of different tabs at the top of their website that are very useful, from some parenting articles, a blog they have. They even have a resource tab where you can go on for further info. A paragraph I want to read from their website states that children go through distinct periods of development as they move from infants to young adults. During each of these, multiple changes in the development of the brain are taking place. What occurs and approximately when these developments take place are genetically determined. However, environmental circumstances and exchanges with key individuals within that environment have significant influence on how each child benefits from each developmental event. Ages and stages is a term used to broadly outline key periods in the human development timeline. During each stage, growth and development occurs in the primary developmental domains, including physical, intellectual, language, and social emotional. Our goal is to help parents understand what is taking place in their child's brain and body during each period. First, I'm going to start off with the infants and babies 0 to 2 years old. And it says, raising a baby, especially for the first time, is both exciting and challenging. This is a time for developing the bond that will last a lifetime, providing the child with the inner resources to develop self-esteem and the ability to relate positively with others. It is also the time for parents to begin to discover who this new person really is. I have a granddaughter that is 1 year old, so I really learned a lot in the ages and stages with her. And yeah, she's something. Toddlers and preschoolers 2 to 5 years old. When a child takes their first step, they're on their way to a new phase of development. At this stage, children are now free to roam around the world. It is time for active exploration of their environment. Language development takes major leaps, which leads to learning the names of objects, interests, the ability to ask for things as they discover their independent nature, and they begin to mimic words that you say. I know my granddaughter, her favorites are stop and no. During this developmental stage, a major challenge is developing what psychologists call emotional regulation. Meltdowns are common during this period, but parents can use the bond developed during infancy to help the child learn to modulate their emotional expression and begin to grasp the difficult concept of delay of gratification. This is also a stage of rapid physical and intellectual development, preparing these children for starting school, which includes interacting cooperatively with peers while at the same time being able to compete physically and intellectually. I know my granddaughter started walking a little bit after her first birthday. She turned 1 in August, so she's all over the place, tearing up all kind of things, but she's developing some physical skills. School-age children 6 to 12 years old. Raising school-age children can be awesome. Watching them try new activities, cheering them on at athletic events, and applauding their accomplishments at recitals are usually some of the high points for most parents. While toddlers and preschoolers need constant supervision, school-age children become gradually ready for more independence. However, learning to make good choices and exercise self-discipline does not come easy for many. Parents need to impart a moral code that the child gradually internalizes. As children struggle with their important tasks, parents must be able to provide praise and encouragement for achievement, but parents must also be able to allow them to sometimes experience the natural consequences for their behavior or provide logical consequences to help them learn from their mistakes. I am in a Georgia pre-K classroom with 4-year-olds turning 5, so a lot of things we try to teach them is to be independent because it'll help them when they get to kindergarten. Developing a first-class program for children is the goal of the Child Care Center administrator, and having a high-quality program cannot happen without involving families and tending to their needs. Creating a positive climate based on good communication and demonstrating cross-cultural competence is essential for the success of this part of the program. And that little insert came from our textbook that we use in 2320, developing and administrating a child care and education program. It is very important to have good communication with your parents, to have a positive environment, a welcoming environment for parents. When we had our orientation this school year, I came up with an acronym for our parents, and it was CAP. The C standing for communication, the A standing for academics, and the P standing for parental involvement. I am a big advocate of parental involvement. I love parental involvement. I was a PTA president when my kids were in elementary school, and I got to learn a lot about other cultures, other families, other students, so I really like that. And that's a way that you can get involved as a family with joining the PTA. If you go to pta.org, they have a lot of information on there about joining PTAs. You can also be a classroom mom. You will go into the classroom and help the teacher. Teachers always need a second hand, trust me. You can send out text messages to other parents, emails to other parents. You can make copies for the teacher. She needs copies. I know in my classroom, I have a classroom email, and I swear I email parents like every day, sometimes 2 times a day, because it's social. Like having a smartphone is like the best thing ever, because it goes straight to their smartphone and they just open it and they read it, versus when you send something home, sometimes it just stays in the book bag and they never get it. Volunteering. It's always good to volunteer at your child's school. And like I said, PTA, they always have different events at the school. You could go and volunteer at the school. Plus, kids love to see their parents at their school when they come volunteer, and just their faces just light up like a light bulb. Have some parent nights, monthly parent night, quarterly parent nights, but it also gets the parents that are working during the day to be able to come in the evening to spend time with their child and learn about their school, their classroom, their teacher, their friends, just day-to-day things that is going on in the classroom. Have weekly library readers. In my class, we have a weekly library reader where a different parent comes every week and reads to the classroom. And the parents love to come and volunteer. They really love to come volunteer. Have a parent support program where if a parent is in need of something, the resources that they need to locate what they may be in need of. So activities in the parent support program may be as informal as casual classroom observations, followed by one-to-one or small group discussions with a staff member, or as formal as a plant lecture, workshops, and panel discussion or seminar. Family interactions range from the most informal arrival or departure greetings, phone calls, emails, Facebook postings, to informal interviews, regularly scheduled conferences, and meetings when problems are encountered. And social media is so heavy right now. Parents love social media. Some classrooms or some centers have a Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter. You can keep up with all daily classroom things that are going on through social media. And it's right on their phone. Parents always have their phones with them. Trust me, they always do. Interacting with parents is a stepping stone to building positive and trusting relationships. Contacts with family range from daily drop off and separation in the morning and occasional phone calls and exchange of information during the day to day reunion that can be emotional and rushed. Sometimes parents are in a rush at the end of the day or even at the beginning of the day because they have to get to work or they just in a rush after a long day of work and they're ready to go home. So sometimes making that phone call is a good way to communicate with them as well. The daily interactions provide opportunities to greet, welcome, and exchange information with parents. Having parent-teacher conferences is a must, and make sure you try to schedule conferences that you are assisting the parents, like with the time. Like if they can't come in the morning, stay late so they could come. Sometimes you might even have to give up your lunch period to have a conference, but at least you're keeping that open communication with the parents so they'll know what's going on with their child academically. Signing up with, like, doing newsletters. I do a monthly newsletter in my class. It's posted on my parent board. I email it, I copy it, I give it to them in their hand, so no one could ever say they didn't know, because I'm leaving that open communication so they'll know everything that's going on. I have in my phone a group text message that, if need be, I will send out a mass text message to parents. Like I said, they always have their phones. One article that caught my attention was a parent, family, community involvement in education article. So I'm going to read that. It takes a village to raise a child, in a popular proverb with a clear message. The whole community plays an essential role in the growth and development of its young people. And there's a lady by the name of Joyce Epstein at Johns Hopkins University, and she describes 6 types of family involvement. The first one is parenting. Assist families with parenting skills, family support, understanding child and adolescent development, and setting home conditions to support learning at each stage and grade level. Assist schools in understanding families' background, cultures, and goals for children. And that's where I was talking about have like a cultural night. People can bring their foods and stuff from their cultures and tell you some history about their cultures. Communicate with families about school programs and student progress. Create two-way communication channels between school and home that are effective and reliable. Number 3, volunteering. Improve recruitment and training to involve families as volunteers and as audience at the school or in other locations. Enable educators to work with volunteers who support students and the school. Provide meaningful work and flexible scheduling. And that's what I mean about when you do your parent-teacher conferences. Make sure your schedule is flexible. Number 4, learning at home. Involve families with their children in academic learning at home, including homework, goal setting, and other curriculum-related activities. You can always send home a project for kids to do as a family with their parents. That's a good way to get them involved as well. Decision making. Include families as participants in school decisions, governance, and advocacy activities through school council or improvement teams, committees, and other organizations. That's where like the PTA would come in. My son at his school, he has a PTA and a foundations group, and they both work collectively together. Number 6, collaborating with the community. Coordinate resources and services for families, students, and the school with community groups, including businesses, agencies, cultural and civic organizations, and colleges or universities. And this is an article from School and Family Partnership, Encyclopedia of Education Resources. And those were the 6 ways, Epstein's 6 frameworks on family involvement. Another article that caught my attention was it's a new generation of evidence. The family is critical to student involvement. This is about family involvement. A family's involvement in their child's education is recognized by many as the single most important factor in school success and achievement. Research has shown that not only does family involvement increase academic achievement as reflected in higher test scores and graduation rates, but it also increases the likelihood that youth will pursue higher education. And they also have the most effective family involvement and approaches, and they offer a wide variety of ways to participate, support family participation in any school or community or opportunity, account for cultural and individual differences, enable participation for all who want to contribute, regardless of skill level, and provide support to improve participation skills. Again, that was an article from A New Generation of Evidence. The family is critical to student achievement. Thank you for listening.